Hi everyone, welcome back to Voices of Western, the Humans of Western podcast. If you're new, welcome. This is the podcast where we dive deeper into the personal lives of fellow Western students, staff, and faculty. Thank you so much for taking the time of your day. My name is Medha, and I'm joined by my fellow co-host, Milan.
So thank you, Medha. So we actually have two guests on our podcast today. We have Swathi and Shurabi. So Swathi and Shurabi are twin authors and are in their first year at Western. And we're super excited to have you guys here with us today and can't wait to dive in and talk about your initiative with the TwinTales project, as well as your journey as just being first year students at Western for the 2021 to 2022 academic school year. So first of all, how are you guys? How is everything? How was your day today?
We're great. Thank you for featuring us on your podcast. We're thrilled to be here and we're doing great. How are you guys?
Yeah, no,
I'm doing well too. Yeah. Excited for reading week. That's pretty much it.
So I think just to break the ice for our podcast, we just have an icebreaker question for you guys. So the question is, what was your favorite children's book growing up? So it can be like any children's book. It can be like a novel, a picture book your teacher used to read to you in your class. So for me, my favorite children's book growing up was, I don't know if you guys know it, but it's called There Was an Old Lady That Swallowed a Fly. Have you guys heard of it?
I've heard of it.
Oh, okay,
I literally have no clue.
Really? I thought that was like a common one.
Maybe I have to see the cover, I think. I by name I just have no clue.
Okay, but so basically how the book went was there was an old lady who swallowed a fly, hence the name. And then because she swallowed a fly, she had to swallow a spider to catch that fly in her stomach. And then because she swallowed a spider, she had to catch a spider. So she swallowed a bird. Then she swallowed a dog, a cat to catch the birds and everything. And then at the end of the book, she swallowed a horse, and I think she died. And literally throughout, when I remember when my teacher was reading this book to our class, I was just thinking to myself, when is she going to swallow a whale at this point? But I loved how chaotic that book was. So I think for me, that was my favorite children's book growing up. How about you guys?
I think when we were little, we always gravitated towards stories that were colorful and had bright colors and were attractive to look at. Maybe because as young kids, we want to read the pictures, not necessarily the words. So I think in terms of that, we loved stories with such bright pictures. I think a story that's so relatable to that is Geronimo Stilton.
Oh my God, I was going to say that.
He had so many colors. His text, his fonts were all different colors. There were different fonts to describe what he's writing. So I think that's a story that I really liked. In terms of our favorite children's books, I would say, okay, this is a sentimental one actually. There's this book called Love You Forever by Robert Munch, and it's so cute.
Oh,
it's a story that I'll never forget. I don't know, it kind of sticks to me even today. And I like how it kind of summarizes the meaning of family, and it was so sentimental as a kid. Yeah. I still remember it.
Robert Munch sounds very familiar. That is a name I can't forget. That is for sure.
As soon as you said children's book, that's the first one that popped in.
Wow, no, that's the literally opposite of me. Han, the lady who ate a spider. That's what I remember.
No, yeah, I think mine, I would also say Geronimo Stilton, and then Bones. I don't know if you guys read Bones. It was a comic book, a comic book series. If you asked me what it was about, I couldn't tell you, but it was like a whole series. I think there was the ones I read was 5 or 6 of them, and they were so fat. So I felt I was so cool reading these books because oh my God, there's so many pages. I'm having the best of my life. But yeah, I don't know. There was the pictures and everything was so well drawn, and little comic strips. It was so good. Yeah, that I think was one of the ones I truly remember from my childhood.
Yeah, no, I agree. So basically the reason why we asked you guys this icebreaker question is because you guys are authors yourself. So first of all, describe your work. Let us know what you guys do.
So to give a little gist, my sister and I started an initiative known as the TwinTales project. in which we aim to like spread values of healthy living, acceptance, and diversity through our children's books. So we kind of do that by illustrating, writing, and publishing children's books on health-related topics such as vaccines and skin diseases. So we can not only educate children, but also entertain them while doing so. So that's just a little gist about what the TwinTales project is about.
Wow.
Perfect. That sounds so good. But like, what actually like inspired you guys to really start the project? Like, what was the journey, the process like to really, start and get it going?
I think like in today's age, we want to find representation in everything. And a lot of the times it's not always in children's books. For example, as little children, I don't think we even grew up with stories that reflected our cultures, and it wasn't as prominent. And so I think that this initiative was started just because we wanted to bring that into media and encourage children to see themselves in the stories and connect to them. I think what first sparked it was our little cousin who's in kindergarten. And at the time when COVID started, she kind of had no idea what the whole pandemic meant. So we kind of used the books as a way to educate her in a simplified way and kind of simplified all those medical terms into something that kindergarteners can understand. And we've always kind of had this passion for illustration and art with our social media background. So we kind of felt that it was a good outlet for our passion. And we've always admired young kids with working with them, and their innocence is so cute. So we thought that making children's books is a good way to connect with them while supporting our mission of serving the community.
No, I've looked through some of them and like I'm so impressed because like I remember when Milan sent me your guys' website, I was like, wow, like these are so good, and like the diversity and just like what the books are about. Like I truly was like, oh my God, like I really hope they continue this for like a really long time. Like I really want to like come or like see these in like like bookstores, like our classic elementary school. What did we have, like book fairs? Like that's like that's a goal. That's a goal I think you guys will hopefully reach one day.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, like I totally agree with you, Medha. Like I remember when I first saw like your Instagram story promoting this, I'm like, wow, that's amazing. First of all, you guys are authors, and that too, such a great initiative too. Like, for one, like bringing diversity, and as you guys mentioned, like not much of our children's book growing up, like really showcase like us as like as a multicultural community, because we're from like Canada is like from like we have like so many immigrants from all around the world. So I think this is such like a great way to showcase that and like really be inclusive with everyone. So yeah, like honestly, hands down, good job guys on this. It's like a really initiative. And I think one question I had when I saw this, like, how did you guys juggle with this whole responsibility of like being an author, and how did you guys juggle that with being a first year student at Western?
Yeah, so I think it was like definitely a long process with maintaining our schedules and all of that. We did indeed have to take some time to focus on our academics just because of how the workload kind of got different when we moved on to university. And I think just with the transition itself, it's new for everyone, especially for a first year student. Whether that be online or in person, having that new transition is something that is important and something you should experience. So I think during that time, writing these stories and illustrating something that we found as a hobby. And I don't think it felt like a burden or anything because we always liked to do it. So it was always something that was a stress reliever for us when writing these stories. And we always like tried to maintain our schedule, so we'd always have a little bit of time for ourselves and to focus on some things that we enjoyed a little more. So yeah.
No, I think that's really important though, because you guys basically like learned a really important life skill, like time management, especially during first year. Like that's super impressive, because I remember when I was in first year, like I had no clue what I was doing with my life, especially
Trust
that first
me, that
semester.
was us too.
Yeah, like, but the fact that you guys are authors as well first year students, like that's so impressive. And just the fact that you guys were able to keep yourself grounded and get those time management skills down super early on, I think that's really important. And like it's great that you guys learned it early on as well, so I give props to you guys on that.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, no, like, sorry, I just wanted to say, like, I think that was one of the challenges for me, like, coming to Western, was like the idea of just like one being in a new environment. Like, I was away from home. And then that too, because of the pandemic, we were with what, just two classes like a semester, and all of a sudden, like a big 5 class jump. So just like that scheduling and being able to not only like make time for your like academics, but also like time for yourself. So like you can also take care of your mental health. So I think that was like one of the greatest challenges for me, like when I came to Western this year. And I think many students actually share that challenge of just seeing how you guys be authors as well as handle your course load is really inspiring to other students as well. In that kind of sense, like just like how you like handle and like schedule your course load. So I think that's like a great challenge that you guys overcome. But was there any other challenges like as a student and a first year student at Western specifically, how you guys like overcame that challenge?
Yeah, I think it would be homesickness, definitely. As individuals that are like really family oriented, being away from home and missing out on like family events, not having home cooked meals was like very tough for us. We always made sure to like visit home anytime we got, like any chance we got, we were always at home. And I feel like those moments, you feel those moments, but they start to get dull down a little bit when you get used to your routine and your schedule and that transition. And like keeping yourself busy is just one way to avoid it, I think. So we've always been
100%.
busy, so yeah.
That's really good though. No, I totally relate as well, especially first year. Like homesickness was like my biggest issue. I feel like it wasn't even like school at that point. It was just the fact that like I wanted to go home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I
And then
totally get that.
and the guys, and the fact that you guys mentioned your like home food too, that was another thing I really missed a lot.
I literally scheduled our classes on Friday to be as early as possible so we can go home faster.
No, literally me. Me
Yeah.
too. I had first year calculus at like 8:30 a.m. and after that I was like done for the day. I was like, okay, next Greyhound, like I'm out of here.
Oh wow.
No, I get that. Yeah, anyways, so back to the books a bit. We saw that your books in general brought also a lot of diversity in, such as, different multicultural names, different skin colors. We wanted you to actually touch upon that a bit. What persuaded you to really, bring that diversity into these books that we don't necessarily see in children's books nowadays?
Yeah, I feel like as kids, we never saw our names in books, and we've always kind of like anglicized our names for the convenience of other people, or try to hide, the meanings of it, or like the true beauty actually. And we really hope to at least include some multicultural names within our books just to connect, or to at least one kid who shared that name. Adding a name like Ahana, for example, not only excites one Ahana out there, but also many Ahanas, or many people that know an Ahana, or many people who even have a name of that origin. So we try to incorporate something to add that multicultural touch to it. I think we know that this impact can span across many children who never find representation in stories, which we wanted to like eliminate with these books as a whole. Alongside this, we wanted to include like characters with acne or vitiligo to spread positive messages of acceptance. Personally, I've never seen any child, at least, with a vitiligo in a storybook. And I know that some children may even face people staring at them, or little kids asking them questions about their skin, because they're uneducated in a sense that they haven't seen anyone and they're curious. So having a book that brings them awareness on the topic and allows them to see someone like that helps them become more aware and be more accepting of other kids who might have illnesses or disorders that affect their appearance. And I think that a lot of bullying comes from that, where kids are unaware or uneducated and just tend to ask questions. And to some, that might make them feel a little hesitant or make them feel insecure. So that's why we created these books, kind of to educate children on appearance and educate children on how to ask those questions, or whether they should ask those questions. And just we wanted to eliminate that. So we wanted all children to feel open with our books and feel connected to the characters beyond just the story.
That's
No,
really
that's
nice.
yeah, it's so good to hear. I think it's something at least me personally, like I really missed out on that when growing up. Like a lot of the books that we read, it was very like cookie cutter, like, you know, similar situations, the girl or the boy look the exact same in every single book. Like I never got to experience like having like a female character like look like someone like me. And I think seeing these books now like coming out slowly, it's definitely gonna bring, like, I don't think people realize the impact it has on children. Like eventually they're going to grow up and they're going to learn a lot more from it, right? They're going to be already open to the experiences, to, you know, how people can look differently from you. And I think it's necessary, and I'm glad, you know, it's finally starting to come out from the books that you guys are making.
And just to like add on to that, when you guys like mentioned like the different names, like when I grew up, I had so many people just mispronouncing my name. I think the fact that you guys are bringing into these like diversity of like such like the variety of names in our world, I think helps kids to be familiar with that kind of pronunciation, and as a result, like just not assume like when you say someone's name that like that is the exact pronunciation, or like whitewash a name. Like for example, like my name is Milan, but a lot of people say Milan or Milan, right? Just like they stress out that A, which I do understand, but a lot of times they don't don't necessarily think that it was wrong the first time they pronounce it. They'll be like, yeah, like it has to be Milan because there's an A in there. But yeah, no, I think I think that's like an essential key, like from your like story, just like that, like for example, Ahana, like now like students know like, oh yeah, like what a like new diverse name, and then know how to pronounce it, and as a result like ask people like, oh yeah, is this like how you pronounce your guy's name? So I love that, and I think I missed that out in my childhood too, because a lot of people when they mispronounce my name, I was just like, yeah, it's all right, like I don't correct them.
Yeah,
So,
same.
yeah, so I'm sure you guys like experienced that too when you guys were growing up. So I think that was like really, really nice. So I think to dive into our next question then is, what was it like to have your twin also part of your journey with you? Like, first of all, like I can't imagine just being like an author solely, but you guys are both twins, and I think that would make the process much more enjoyable and interesting. So what do you guys have when it comes to that experience?
I mean, it did definitely make the process more enjoyable. As like we were able to support each other throughout the process and produce something that we were both proud of. Yeah, we were able to even like communicate with each other, collaborate in a way that allowed us to bring in more perspectives. For example, if I looked at an illustration, it might look good to me, but my sister can always point out something that can improve it. So I feel like having that second eye can always help you in the process and make it even more interesting, and also make us produce the highest quality of our work.
No, that's super important. And I think also like, I guess you guys like have that special bond. So even though you might not like agree upon everything, like you guys are always able to find that solution, which is of course essential because you guys are running, you know, all the books together and stuff. But yeah, and also brings like different perspectives, right? Like one of you guys might have experienced something different from the other, so you guys can find a way to like include both, and that just makes it even better, right? Like more perspectives, more books for children to also understand different experiences.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, like just like sharing this experience with someone, I think would be like it is an amazing thing. So yeah, good job on that as well.
Exactly.
So I think just to combine both of our topics, then I was like, first of all, being a first year student at Western, as well as being a children's author, do you guys have any tips or recommendations for one, future authors, but also as well as incoming Western students who are listening to this podcast?
I would emphasize that maybe like the process is not easy, and I would emphasize that maybe future authors should be prepared and just to do their research in terms of getting a certain niche, and understanding the audience is really important when creating a story. In terms of first year, I would stress the importance of taking care of yourself, because I know how stressful it can be transitioning into a new environment, an academic environment as well, scheduling your own work, joining into online communities, or even in person. So I feel like the most important thing is to make sure you have time for yourself. Personally, as students, we always had a very strict schedule in which we would follow, and that helped us get everything we had done. And it also allowed us to have time for ourselves, in which we could relax, draw these books, maybe even hang out with our friends. So make sure you're able to balance not only your schoolwork, but also your mental health. And I would always say that it's not easy at all. And I would never agree that it was easy. And I would just recommend being resilient and taking care of your well-being. I think it's a very, very difficult thing going through first year, especially with like a really academically rigorous program. So I'll just, take a chill pill, maybe just calm down sometimes, focus on taking breaks, even if that means, you'll have to miss some deadline or miss something else, just taking care of yourself. Mm-hmm. I think other than that, reaching out to older students for guidance is also a great thing to do. There's so many resources out there for you to use, and be open to reaching out, asking for help if you ever need something, even asking where your class might be located if you're having trouble. Those simple things can truly help you make connections and friends. Yeah, I'm very grateful to the people that helped us ease the transition. Also, like Google Maps was very helpful, I would say.
Oh my God, yes.
Really helped us get around.
I literally remember in first year, like I would like kind of like hide my phone with Google Maps because I was scared other people around me would be like, oh my gosh, she's like using Google Maps. So I would literally like hold my phone like this as I'm walking, pretending to text, but really I'm just like using Google Maps to like get around campus because I don't know like where NCB is or something like that. That was me like for the whole first month of like first year.
No, don't worry, Medha. That was like really fun too. Like I remember the first day I came to Western, my roommate and I, we were like, okay, let's like see where all our classes is. And I think we were trying to find our chem lab, which was an MSA, and we didn't know we had to go through that little
Oh my God, yeah.
So then we were like, we ended up going to where NCB was, and we're like, where the hell are we? So we were so confused. But yeah, no, like I totally agree with you guys. Like just like finding that first year that upper year support has really helped me as well. And I think that's like a really amazing advice. Also, the fact that you guys mentioned resources. I was honestly so unaware of the fact how Western has so many resources for like students, no matter where you came from. For example, like international resources. And like I remember like last week I had an interview, and my friend was like to me like, hey, like Western has this like interview program where you can just like book an like a mock interview with someone at Western, and they can just like give you tips and like advice for like your actual upcoming interview. And I really wish I actually took that resource to my advantage. So I think like honestly, like whoever, like any first year listening to this podcast, take all the resources at Western to your advantage. Like I think that's like 100%. One of my biggest advice for you too. And yeah.
That's basically it. But yeah, so just to conclude the podcast, we just wanted to ask you guys, where can the listeners learn more about your initiative? Like, is there a specific website or Instagram page?
Yeah, you can definitely check out our website at twintalesproject.com, or even our Instagram page at twintalesproject, and support our journey and see where we go from there.
Okay, that's amazing. So yeah, that actually concludes our podcast. Please make sure to look out for our future podcasts. You can find us on Spotify, Apple Music, or any other podcast platform you use. And we hope you all enjoyed, and make sure to also look out again for our next episode in our social media pages. So thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Bye.